So interesting times we live in. Just to say a little bit about myself. Um, I'm I'm from Australia. I have Italian background. Um, I've been psychic all my life. I was born with it. Uh, I actually didn't know other people couldn't do it until I was 19. Um, and then I thought maybe there was something wrong with me. But anyway, it's been with me, and it's quite an amazing experience, quite an amazing journey.
Og det kan
Um,
være, at vi skal, maybe I shall translate when I remember it.
Ask if anyone understand. If not understand, they can translate. Maybe they understand.
Oh.
Who don't understand?
it seems they understand, I think.
Anyone need translation?
He understands. They understand. All right. Well, we'll go along, and if I go too fast, just ask me to slow down, because sometimes I can get a bit carried away. Okay. So, as I said, I've been doing this all my life, and people often ask me to, talk or ask me questions about things. And Vanera and I were talking, and she was saying, well, we were talking about the spiritual side of what is happening in the world. And we can see all the negative stuff that's happening. And, it does bring a lot of fear into people. But I think what we need to do is try to be positive. And we can be, because the world is going through some very extreme changes. Even if you look at it with the planets astrologically, it will tell you that the big changes are happening in the world. So we also need to change our consciousness, our mind, our way of thinking. The old way is breaking up. The old way is not working anymore. Politics has to change. Our belief systems need to change. And we need to expand our awareness of what is going on not only in the world, but within ourselves, because really change starts within us. And we need to really understand ourselves first. What's going on in the world is a reflection of what's happening in people's minds. There's so much fear on the planet. Things have changed so much from when I was a child, from when you were children. And it's almost like the world, to me, humanity seems to have lost their way, and they've become so involved in the material side of things. They've let the spiritual side go. Now, I'm not a religious person. I don't follow religion, but I'm certainly a spiritual person, and I believe in spirituality. I believe there's a higher intelligence that, if we can connect to, will guide us. I believe there are saints. I believe in Jesus. And I believe all the teachers that came in the early days were full of love, full of compassion, and they really did want humanity to progress in a positive way. But unfortunately, man took over. Man made religion. Man put all these rules in place. And of course, it's not working anymore. It's absolutely not working. So when we look at it astrologically and at a spiritual level, we can see this is a time now. It has to change. And these changes that are happening in the world, that can happen for us in a bad way. We can feel negative about it. We can feel angry about it. But I think the best thing is to step back and accept what's going on. Not saying that we encourage the negativity, but we need to accept that things won't be the same. And to be angry or try to hold on to the past is only going to cause more struggle, more upset, and more sadness. We're going to feel lost. And I think there's so many people out there that are feeling lost right now. So I think for us, each individual needs to really look within themselves and ask, where do they want to go in the future, in what's going on today. And we can look at it with fear, and we can get stuck in that fear, but we can look at it as change, and that we're learning something new, and that we can go along in a positive manner. And I think that's what we need to also put out there. We need to be examples of this, because there are too many people out there with fear. And I think you probably all know now that Israel and Iran are now at war with each other. And it's, if we look at this ground level, it's really horrendous. It's absolutely awful what is going on with the war and Palestine. It's beyond if I look at it from this level, it's beyond my comprehension. But I find I can't get stuck there. I mean, yeah, I get angry, I get upset, especially for those who are innocent. And because people are not working for peace, they're working for war. And, people are against either the Palestinians or the Israelis or the Iraqs or whatever. They're against people, but, the people do not want the war. It's the government that wants the war. It's the governments that want this power for control, whatever it is. But, in the end, and I don't know when it's going to actually finish, but these next few years, the world is going through major, major changes. Our consciousness will go through major changes. Our awareness will. And we need to learn to accept it, and also to connect to a higher vibration. And the only way we can do that, breathing, if you find yourself negative, if you find yourself feeling there's no hope, lift your head and breathe deeply and let go. Let go the negativity. And sometimes, I find that I'm caught in this cloud of negativity, and I got to remember to lift my head and look up. Always look up, because you go beyond that cloud. It's like I want to say so much, and I'm trying to put it into spaces, but there's so much that will come. And in the end, it's going to be incredible. There's going to be so much beauty coming into the world. And it's unfortunate that people feel they need to fight and kill. But we are lifting to a higher level of consciousness. And quite a few years ago, I was given a vision where I saw a new world, a new earth, a new way of looking at things. And what I saw was like little communities. And, there would be people who all help each other. And let's say there was an old woman and an old man living in the house on their own down the end of the street. Other families would invite them over for dinner. Or if they went out somewhere on a picnic or a family vacation, they'd invite them along. It's like people looked after each other. If someone had some psychological problems, they weren't thrown into a asylum, or they weren't given medication. It was talked through. It was looked into. It was, astrologically, you can see a person's state of mind, and you can actually work out the psychological problems. But you see, the world has been moving so fast, especially since, computers and internet. Everything's been moving so fast, and we don't have time to stop. We don't have time to look at other people and help them through their problems. It's like, well, take this tablet, do this, lock them up. There's no real communication. There's no heart-to-heart communication. But the new world, there will be communities that will help each other. There will not be a one world government. There will be, like the Americans, Indians, they would have their elders, and they'll go to the elders for advice. It'll be more along those lines. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like that, but it's more along those lines. And if this village has problems they can't solve, they'll go to another village or somewhere else where they can get help. There won't be that arrogance there of, I know better than everyone else, so you've got to listen to me. That's going to be rubbed out, because the people that survive what is to come, they're going to make sure we don't go back to the old ways. We're going to find new ways of communicating, new ways of understanding each other. And also, we will also be open to spiritual connection. You know, you don't have to go to a psychic. I'm out of a job, but no, seriously. You know, we don't have to go to a psychic. We don't have to go somewhere else to connect with the higher self. This will be opened up to everyone, and it will develop more and more. There will be new freedoms, but the best thing is the love, the compassion, and what will happen there, this consciousness will work at even taking it to a higher level still, and it'll go really beyond anything we can imagine right now, because you know, these new things that come in, there are no words for it. You know, back when I was a kid, who thought of internet? What's internet? You know, we didn't understand this particular language. So what comes in the future after this, you know, when we get to a higher awareness, there'll be something even greater, but it will be beautiful. And it really will be a healing time for the lost souls. I think there'll be those, okay, you know, there'll be those who will be stuck in the negative. They will be stuck still holding on to the old way. And it's like there'll be two worlds. And, you know, we have, the way I just can explain the two worlds is like, okay, I can see the spirit, but others can't. So I can see both worlds. Do you understand? And I feel that this, when we become higher in our awareness, when we lift our energy to a higher level, we will see the beautiful, the positive. But those who have chosen to hang on to the negative, or want to control, or want the money, or whatever it is, they will stay at that level. They will stay at that negative level, and they will still be fighting the wars, and God only knows what else will be going on there. But it is time. We've come to an end of an era, but it's in India, and I live in India at the moment. I spend a lot of years in India. I absolutely love the country. They talk about the Kali Yuga, and there are certain yugas. So every 26,000 years, around that time, we step up to a new awareness, or we go, like now we're going into the age of Aquarius. So we go into this new awareness, and we learn new things. So we are at that point now, and this is an incredibly important time for human progress, and for the evolution of humanity, but the evolution of our soul. I mean, God's plan, I have no idea what that is, but it's the plan to take us to a higher level of understanding. And at some point, we will get to whatever that level of God or the divine wants us to get to, but we've got to go through this process. And the way I see it is that we, in these human lives, we're working through the negativity, and we're breaking it up. You know, going back when I was a child, there were so many things you wouldn't talk about in the open. You know, those people who were disadvantaged, who were disabled, or had something, you know, crippled, they would be put away. They'll be hidden away. You can't see them. And people were afraid if you get too close, you might catch something. But thank God the awareness has changed in that. Our awareness, we become more compassionate, more understanding, and realizing, you know, that there isn't anything really wrong with them. This is their experience. This is where they're at. And for me, these people are a gift to touch our heart, so we can find our own compassion, our own love, and really go into the depths of that, so we can expand awareness, and we can add beauty into our life instead of all this negativity and this fear. But the biggest thing too, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm only talking to you about the things I've learned that I understand. And look, you don't have to agree. I'm not trying to force anyone to agree with me. This is my life experience. And I found, look, we all have had difficulties in our lives, especially when you're on the spiritual path. For some reason, that's a really tough path to be on. And my guru, such as Sai Baba, who I absolutely love, he said the spiritual, and many say, the spiritual path is the most difficult path of all. And it is a path that most people fall off. Because sometimes when some people have an experience, they think, oh, yeah, that's it. I'm aware, I know it all. And then they want to push everyone in to believe in what they believe, and they sort of get lost. And then for some people, it's just too difficult and they turn away. So it is a real challenge. But what I found the biggest challenge to be is to learn to love myself. And if we can, Sai Baba used to say, if you learn to love yourself, you will realize that you are God. He would say, I am God, you are God. The only difference is I remember and you forget. We are born from divinity. In the church... Sorry? Someone
Sorry.
talking? Okay. Sorry about that. I thought someone talking. Okay. If you go into a church, they will say, you're born from sin. Swami would say, embodiments of love. You're divine, your divinity. He wanted to lift our awareness and our consciousness. And the more you start to realize that you're not a bad person, look, we all make mistakes. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve. We're here to learn, to lift ourselves up. And as we lift our own consciousness up, you can't help but lift other people up, because we're in this all together, whether we like it or not. This is the only planet that we are living on at this point in time. And our thoughts, our actions, everything we do affects someone else or something else. And it's been proven over and over again, when you get a group of people who think the same way, they can affect other people and even society. They can affect the way other people think. I don't know if you know about the 100th monkey experiment they did quite a few years ago. Scientists got together and there were a group of islands and they had the same sort of monkeys on each island. And on one island, they taught the monkeys they used to get their sweet potato and eat it just like that. But they taught the monkeys to go down to the lake and wash the potato before they ate it. When number 100 monkey, the 100th monkey, went down to wash his potato, an island hundreds of miles or kilometers away, the monkeys automatically started washing their potatoes, and no one taught them. The ones on that first island, they were taught to do that. The ones on the other island, they were not taught to do that. So it shows how our energy, our awareness, our minds can affect others. And we can affect them negatively or positively. People get groups and they pray and things are healed or things are changed. And then there are groups of people who get angry, and then they find other groups of people getting angry. We need to really be aware of what we're thinking and take responsibility for that, And I think, too, to protect ourselves from the other people's negativity. I don't know, I think for all of us, I've walked into a room and, I feel like I have felt okay, and I walk into a room and you sort of feel agitated, you feel something's not right, and you get annoyed, and that good feeling suddenly seems to go away. And that's because someone has left their negative energy there. So we need to be more aware of that, and then to step back and say, no, this doesn't belong to me. But again, I'll go back to learning to love yourself, because for me, the more I've learned to like myself and start loving myself, I find there's an incredible freedom within myself to be myself. Whether other people like it or not, it doesn't matter. You know, we've all been brought up to have a society or the family or the teacher, whoever, to approve of what we're doing. And you dare to be different, and you're ostracized, or we don't want to know you, or you're bad, you're wrong. And then we conform because we want to fit in. And I think it's more when you're younger. This happens more because we're afraid to go out on our own. But the more you realize that another person's opinion doesn't matter, that it shouldn't affect you and who you are. Now, when I say doesn't matter, I'm not saying going out and doing things that are bad or hurting people. Of course, we all know that that's not the right thing. But, if everyone wants to wear the color blue and I go wear the color red, and people, especially with fashion these days, everyone has to be in fashion. You dare wear something different and people put you down. They talk about you. But you've got to get to that point where that doesn't matter, whatever it might be. And, it's like when you start to like yourself, you start to discover how you have been playing their game. And it's like when you release it, wow, it's such a freedom. Because whatever it is we hold on to that's negative, our past, whoever's put us down or told us we're not good enough, we don't look right, we don't speak right, whatever it might be, that's something, it's like a rock, a heavy rock that we carry. And so we're afraid to stand up and be ourselves because we think, someone, that rock's really heavy and someone's going to say something bad about me. To hell with it. That's the point I'm at now. To hell with it, let them think what they like. But as long as you're true to yourself, as long as you love yourself enough to be true to yourself, you can't go wrong, is my opinion. And I think we need more and more of this. There's too many people who just agree because someone else said it loudly, or they, you must do this and the good people do this and they're bad. And we've all been there where we think, oh, I don't know, I don't think I agree with that, but we don't say anything. But it's time to, and look, even if you don't want to confront, you don't have to confront, we don't have to have an argument over it, but we have to know within ourselves, no, that's not me. They want to be like that, that's fine. And, where I live in India, I've lived in India many years now, and there's a lot of spiritual groups. And, that everyone wants you to go to their guru or their group, or, come to this meditation, come to this talk, come to this. And, I've been to a few and I've looked at, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, but I just know it's not for me. So then I stopped going. And then the people are trying to pull me back in. And that, but why? But why? I just don't feel the need to go. And I find those people will stop talking to you. That's okay. I mean, there would have been a time where I think, oh, I'm being left out, or you feel lonely, you're lost. But now I don't care. I enjoy my own company. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else. Look, I have enough of my own faults. God knows I have enough. But I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy to recognize that I do have faults, and I'm trying to overcome them. I do lose my patience a bit at times, which I need to learn a bit more patience in some ways, especially when I see some injustice. But I do recognize that I do have faults, and I recognize that I need to work on that for me, not for anyone else, but for me, so I can be free of them, so I can walk through life whether people laugh at me, whether people point at me, whether people love me, whether people worship me. I can walk through life being myself. I do not need someone else to tell me I'm good at this, or you're wonderful at that, or you're beautiful, whatever. I grew up believing I was ugly. And I one day I was combing my hair in the mirror, and I could hear my voice saying, oh, you're ugly, you look terrible. And I sort of thought, and I realized that this little voice has been in the back of my head all my life, because when I was young, certain people told me I was ugly and no good, and that voice, you know, it falls into the subconscious mind. We're ruled by these things that happened in the past, because we get to a point that we haven't solved it, so it falls into the back of our subconscious mind. Anyway, this voice was going on, and I suddenly thought, no way, I'm not ugly, I'm beautiful. And whether I will never win a Miss Universe contest, but I don't care. I am beautiful as I am, and as I look, it's okay. And that day I went out for my walk, and this young lad, he was just a young lad, came along on a bike, and he's looking at me, and I thought, what's he looking at? What's he want? And just as he passed me, he turned, he said, beautiful lady. Why did that happen? Because I let go of the belief that I wasn't. And again, I will not win a Miss Universe or whatever, but it doesn't matter. The beauty comes from within. And if we believe we're ugly, we're going to attract people. Our energy is so powerful. And that proved it to me. I mean, that really proved it to me. Our energy is so powerful that we will attract someone or something to confirm that you're ugly or you're not good enough or whatever it is. But as soon as we realize, hey, that's not who I am, the doors open up and there's that new freedom that comes in. We are so powerful. We're not taught this in schools. The governments don't tell us, people don't tell us, but as individuals, we are truly very, very powerful. We have the ability not only to transform ourselves, but to transform the world in a silent way, really. I mean, we don't have to go out and push our beliefs down people's throat. We just have to be the example. You know, oh, that's right. When I came back from to India I was in Ireland. That's right. And I came back and I was really happy and I was feeling really good. And I was always smiling. And my friends would say, what are you smiling at? What happened when you went overseas? Why are you always smiling? So I just feel happy. Did you meet a man? Oh, God, you know, yeah. You gotta meet a man. You can't be happy without a man. No, I didn't. Oh, come on, you must be in love. You're always smiling. I just felt good. I felt positive. I stopped bringing myself down, and I can't say I stopped totally, but I stopped accepting other people's opinion of me. Again, I look at myself. I know I'm not perfect. I know I have faults, but it's okay. It's okay because that makes me human, and I am human as everyone else. But I can work on these faults, but I can express my positivity more than my negativity. That's my choice. And it doesn't mean that I don't get upset. Of course I do. Things still upset me, or that, you know, I might react to something, but I don't hold on to it like I used to. If something negative happened, let's say a week ago, I'd still be going over in my head, and they should have done, and I should have said this, and they should have done that. No, now I don't do that. I might be upset for an hour or so, and then I just let it go. Let it go. There's a lovely little story about Buddha I would like to tell. And this story is where Buddha is sitting under a tree and his disciples are sort of nearby. And this man comes along and he's angry. This man is going to tell Buddha off, and he goes up to Buddha and he starts telling Buddha how stupid his beliefs are and da-da-da-da. And one of the disciples is standing over on the side and thinking, oh yeah, any minute now, Buddha's going to make him feel so small. He's going to cut him down. He's going to really get him. Anyway, this guy's going on at Buddha, and Buddha just sitting there, just looking at the sky, not reacting at all. And then the man in the end just throws his arms in the air and walks off. The disciple comes running up to Buddha and says, Master, why didn't you say something? That man insulted you. Your teachings are so honorable. They're so wonderful. Why didn't you say something? And Buddha said, if a man comes and offers you a basket of fruit and you don't take it, who is it left with? It's left with him. So if you open yourself up to the negativity, and we all know people who drain ourselves. We are us. We're talking to someone and we walk away feeling like, it's because we've opened ourselves up. We opened ourselves up to their negativity. If Buddha started saying something angry to him or putting that man down, that's going to feed his energy to be even more angry and to be up there and, I'm going to get you. And it will just escalate out of control. But Buddha just sat there. And in the end, what could the man do? He just walked away. And no one was hurt. Nothing was lost. Nothing was gained. Well, peace was gained on Buddha's side, but this man, he lost his peace of mind. So I think for me, that's a big, big lesson. And if we can do that more and more, if we can actually show the peace within us, because look, this is what this whole thing, this madness that we're seeing in the world, people really screaming out for something more, something different. The higher consciousness, the spirituality is trying to break up this hate, this anger, this terrible ideas we have that I'm better than you, your God is better than not my God, and my God is better than yours, and I'm going to kill you for it. I mean, really? What is every religion, as I say, I'm not into religion, but every religion teaches thou shalt not kill. What the hell are we doing? It's not good. So it's time to stop. It's time to really break this up. And this is what, as I said before, this is what's happening now. We are going to a different level of consciousness, and too many people want to hold on to the old way. They're afraid to let go because they don't know this other awareness, because they've lived in this locked way of thinking. And we've all been programmed. There's not one person living on this planet that hasn't been programmed one way or the other by society, by their community, by their religion, or whatever it is. And so that has so much energy. The old way of thinking has so much strength. It's been here for thousands of years, and now it's breaking up. And people are so afraid that, and I mean these people in power, they are so afraid of losing their power. They're so afraid of losing their grip because they don't know what else to do. This is what they've done all the time, and they want to be in control at all costs. And they don't care who suffers, who dies, whatever is happening. And all the ugliness that has been suppressed by governments, by people, organizations, religions, and by families. I mean, it comes down. It's not just for the people up the top. It comes down into the families, because there are families who've caused a lot of suffering and pain to their own family, to their own children, to their own community. All this truth, truth that we need to see. We need to see the lies. We need to see what's going on. And it's got to come up. It's got to be seen, because when we step into this new awareness, this new consciousness, we can't take this with us. Sai Baba would say, when you pull out a weed, you got to get the tiniest root out, because if you don't, eventually that weed's going to grow again. So to get rid of it totally, you've got to dig really deep and get the tiniest amount out there. The absolute beginning, the ugliness, the total ugliness that's been hidden away for so long. It's got to come in the open. And when it comes in the open, the light hits it and the darkness is gone. But they are fighting, these people of darkness, these people who hate and want to control the consciousness of man, want that power, because as I say, we are incredibly powerful. Those who want to control that, they're losing control and they're fighting like crazy. They're fighting without thinking. They're so stuck on the old way that they won't change. And it's time to change. You know, the divine is saying, it's shaking everything up and it's saying it's time to change. It's really up to us as individuals. And we mustn't buy into the fear, because, you know, that story of the 100th monkey, that we're sending out that energy of fear out there, and it's only feeding the energy, the negativity, and it's making it grow and get stronger. And look, sometimes I see things and I do feel, for a moment, I think, oh my God, and I feel this fear, and I feel the fear for the people and the world. And then I think, okay, hang on. We don't have to buy into that. We don't have to feed that energy. I want to believe that mankind will wake up and pull themselves through this madness and will want peace, will want love. I mean, what parent does not want the best for their children? And God wants the best for us, because we are his children. We are divine beings. And you know, sometimes we have to trip over before we learn our lesson. And we're doing that in a big mass right now. And so we're being shook up so we can see the truth, and also see the truth within ourselves. You know, many people, through all the horrendous stuff that's happening, they've stood up and become heroes, or they've stood up and found courage within themselves, because for the first time in their lives, they've been faced with something that's truly horrendous, you know. I don't really want to focus on this, but I don't know if you've heard, in Australia, there was a man who went into a shopping centre and killed 6 people, stabbed them to death. You know, it was just awful. But in that, there were certain people who came forward and became heroes. You know, they saved a baby's life, and others faced this wicked man. And for them, I think if you would ask them, what would you do in this situation? You know, you wouldn't think that's what I'd do, but they reacted from their inner courage, their inner selves. They transformed their way of thinking. They transformed, they came up. And a lot of times, you know, tragedies and things happen to show humanity their ugliness, but also their beauty, their courage, their strength. You can do it. We can work through this. We don't have to sit down and take all the rubbish and just accept that everything's bad. Even, look, I can't go out there and fight the war, okay? But I can certainly give joy to others. I can work with others. I can spread happiness or positivity. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like that every day, because as I said, I'm human, and there are days that I feel negative, but I can snap myself out of it. I can tell myself, come on, let's lift ourselves up. I can hear, you know, some nice music. I can meditate, breathe deeply, and again, lift my head up. But there are ways of doing it. And sometimes, look, I need the support. I need friends. And as you start to learn to love yourself, as you learn that you have beauty and you have honor and you have trust within yourself, you will start to see those people that have that also. And you will attract those people to you. And even if it's just 1 or 2, that is enough, because that will strengthen you and it strengthens them, because you also will give back to them. This is the way life is. We're not on our own. we're a part of a whole. And, you know, people will say to me, oh, yes, well, I just don't look at it. Well, it's not going to go away if you don't look at it. And I'm not saying get involved, don't bury yourself in it, but be aware of it. And be aware that I can do something positive in just my thoughts, in just my energy. You know, I heard what's that called, a podcast or whatever it was, and there was a man there who says he's channeling Saint Germain, and he had some wonderful stuff that he was saying. And anyway, he said, don't go away. He said, shine your light. This is what we need now. And I absolutely agree with him. We've got to come from our heart, and we've got to shine the love, the light outside, because the energy is becoming quite dark, quite heavy. We can make a difference. One person can make a difference, because I spent a lot of my life thinking, yeah, well, what can I do? You know, I'm just me. This big deal. But then I realized the more I talk to people, the more I help people, the more I can see how I can help them, or the messages that come through. I mean, it's really, I'm a messenger more than anything else. I mean, I can't do anything by myself. But the more I do that, you know, sometimes I'm with people and you can just see, just by what is coming through, they have a realization, you know, the light goes on, so to speak, and it changes their life. And wow, how fantastic is that? You know, I love seeing that. And we can all do it just by, you know, just for a moment, just look at a person without judgment, but feel them. Don't think, don't put your mind in it, put your feelings. And, you know, sometimes just with those feelings, you'll understand exactly what to say or do. And you might just automatically say something, and the person's like, oh, and then you think, wow, where did that come from? It's because we've relaxed, we've gone into a state of peace and of caring, and it just comes through. It just comes through. There was on social media, there was a video of a man on a train, and he was saying all these terrible things. He's sitting and, you know, he's sitting down in this seat and people were sort of avoiding him. This woman who sat next to him, she just put her hand out. He took her hand and he stopped. Chokes me up. He stopped. And the realization there, he was afraid. You know, he was on his own, and someone asked her, why did you do that? And she said, because she could see he was afraid. And sometimes people just need to know that there's someone else there. And that man, for the rest of the journey, didn't say a word. He just stayed in a state of peace, simply because a woman put out her hand. You know, I remember talking to an old lady on the bus, and we were just chatting away. When she got up to get off, she turned around and she said, thank you for talking to me. I don't get to talk to too many people. Oh my God, how sad, how sad. So we don't know how we affect people sometimes. Sometimes just a smile can bring a person back into themselves. You know, a lot of people, they're out there and their mind's out there and they feel afraid, but the world looks dark and scary. But someone who gives them a warm smile, a kind smile, or just a nod, it's like it brings them back and they can settle down again and get on with their life. Sometimes it's truly as simple as that. And I know someone who really, their life was saved by a person who just smiled at them. They didn't say anything to them. They saw the person in so much stress, and they just looked at them and gave them a warm, loving smile and walked off. They didn't wait for the guy to smile back or anything. They just walked off. And that man, years later, went to that person and said, you don't know how much you helped me. You saved my life. I couldn't see anything to go on for. Wow, how powerful is that? We don't realize, again, I'm saying, we don't realize how powerful we are. And with what is happening in the world today, spiritually, we need to be in touch with that higher energy. And by breathing deeply, by, you know, for me, I love trees. Sometimes I just think of a tree and it lifts my energy and I can get into a better state of mind. Sometimes I just think I love children. I mean, I think children laughing is the best sound in the world. I mean, it's just better than any music, any classical, any music in the world. It brings life, it brings joy, it lifts your vibration. That is so precious. So I love to hear kids laugh and I like to make them laugh, you know. I've worked in an orphanage. I've worked with kids that are, you know, come from poor families or people who need something. So I love it. And it's amazing how we can affect a child. We can turn them into a monster or we can turn them into an amazing, self-confident human being if we see the positive. And we do need to discipline children. A lot of people think, you know, if I don't discipline my child, they know I love them. No, they need certainty in their life. They need to know that they can come to you and you will show them the right way, because, you know, they go out into the world, they go out to school and they have problems, or a teenager, they have problems. And who do I go to? Who's got the strength to tell me I'm right or to tell me I'm wrong? They need that stability, but we need to do it with love. We always need to do it with love. And, you know, people say, if there was a God, why does he allow this to happen? God gave us everything. This planet is amazing. It has everything we need. But what has man done? God hasn't done it. Man has done it. Man must take responsibility. You want God to come down here and fix it up every time we muck up? No, we've got to learn by our mistakes. That's why we must fall, because we will never be strong if someone else keeps running in and fixing it for us. You know, many years ago, I heard someone say, you can kill a person with kindness. I thought, what? What are you talking about? But yes, because if you feed the person's weakness, oh, that poor person can't do this or they can't do that, they will never lift themselves up. They will never try to be better, because everyone's running in and confirming to them that they are weak. I mean, you look at people who are disabled. There are people who are disabled who are out there playing sports and doing amazing things. And then there are people who have the same problem and they're kept in a little box, or what I call, you know, in the corner, and people are running around doing this and that for them. And it's all very nice, but we also got to be able to challenge them too, to find their strength, their courage. We really are here to find that, to find our true selves, to find that we are truly powerful and we can reach great heights by believing in ourselves, by loving ourselves, by not beating ourselves up every time we make a mistake. Because I tell you what, I think we beat ourselves up more than anyone else can beat ourselves up when we make a mistake. You know, we get told, oh, I was such an idiot. Why did you do that? It was so embarrassing. Da, 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 da. No, get over it. It's happened. We can't change what happened. Let's move forward and let's make whatever we're moving forward to a better place. I can see that we're running out of time. Gee, it's gone quick. I've talked a lot. Anyone have any questions? Anything anyone wants to say? Excuse me. No? Okay. Again, these times we're going through, they have to be. They have to be. We have to change our way. The world was just going into more and more negativity. So now I think for me, for anyone, it's really to connect with the higher energy. Don't think you can't do it. Don't let your mind tell you, oh, no, I can't do it. Because as soon as you say that, what spirit believe, they think, oh, well, she can't do it. Well, she doesn't want to, or he doesn't want to. They will allow you whatever you want to believe. If you want to be unhappy, they love you enough to let you be unhappy. Okay, well, she wants to be miserable. All right, who am I to interfere with that? We got to look at the way we think. What are we thinking? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? Is it going to help me be better? If it's making me depressed, then let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of these things. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me once, okay? Well, a couple of times. But anyway, I was one time thinking about something that happened in the past, and I was getting really annoyed with it and did it. And this particular day, I started thinking about it again. I thought, oh, for goodness sakes, Francesca, are you going to go back there again? How long have you been thinking about this? That happened years ago. When are you going to let go of it? I thought, oh, yeah, what the heck? What do I want that for? And I let it go. And do you know, till this day, I cannot remember what the heck it was that I was worried about. And it's wonderful because I know that I let it go. Yes, Renee.
Soren, he asked,
Oh.
he has a hard time to holding his light up. What he can
Yes, yeah, I can understand that. Sorry, there's no writing here. I didn't see it. Okay, yeah, that is true because, you know, we go out or negative things come in. All I can say is practice, okay? And you know what? Look in the mirror. Look into your own eyes and tell yourself, you're okay. I love you. And, you know, it is so hard to do that when you've been brought up to believe that's an egotistical thing, or, you know, we have to always be out there, or someone else has to approve of us before we can love ourselves. No, look in your eyes and say, I love you. And that's what helped me with all my faults. And look, I'm not 100% there, but I'm getting there, and I can see I'm getting there because I'm happier. I'm more content in my life. You have to keep doing it over and over, because sooner or later it will become a habit, and you will find that you will go down less and less, and find whatever it is that lifts your energy. For me, look, I love to look up in the sky. I love to see the blue sky, the clouds when it's not too cloudy. I don't want it all cloud, but, you know, on a sunny day, I love the trees. You know, in India, I can be at home and feeling like, I just go out and I look at the people, I smile at the people. And of course, that's very different there than it is here. There are a lot of people on the streets, you know, there are kids, there are dogs running around. It looks like chaos, but it's amazing. It's life. It's actually life that's happening. It's reality. Unfortunately, in the Western world, we've become too, what's the word? You know, too civilized, so to speak. You know, everything has to fit in. Everything has to be right. It's not that way, this way. Let go. Let go. Laugh at yourself. Put on some great music. Close the door. Dance your life away if you love to dance. Do things that make you feel alive and make you happy. Laugh at problems more than anything. You know, in India, the way they drive, I mean, it's scary. But I hired a scooter and off I am. I'm going on down the road and someone cuts off and, oh, what do you think you're doing? And then it got to, I'm thinking to myself, you got to stop that. You're going to have a heart attack in a minute, you know. And then now I sort of see people cutting through, and then I just think of Australia, of the West, and all the rules. And I look at all the chaos and I just laugh. I just think, wow, this is amazing. And now I just laugh at it. But it works. It actually works. You know, I have not seen a major accident in all the time I've been there. Yes, I've seen some clip and bangs and things, but the way they drive, you would think that there would be dead bodies everywhere. There is not, because what they are aware of what the other guy's doing. They are aware of that. I've got to allow this guy to come through because, you know, it's tight over here. So chaos sometimes really brings the best of us out. Challenge yourself, love yourself. The energy there, look, even with me, there are days my energy goes down. And it doesn't mean, you know, there used to be a time where I think, oh, look, I can't be bothered. It's, you know, I'm trying, it just doesn't work. But then I got to the point where, look, I've got to keep at it. I've got to keep at it. And I tell you, if you can really, you know, don't let yourself get too involved. When you be aware of what thoughts bring you down. And as soon as you start thinking that, you know, sometimes I'm with people and or I might start to get angry and I think to myself, hang on a minute, don't have those thoughts. You know, if you keep thinking like this, you're going to end up being really angry or really depressed. Let it go. Catch it. If you can catch it, then lift yourself up. Sorry.
Yeah. Soren, he said he feel shy. That's why sometimes it's difficult for him to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah. You know, I used to be, you're not going to believe it, I was incredibly shy until I was 30 years old. Well, 29. I went to Egypt. First time I went overseas, you know, until then, if someone spoke to me, I'd go bright red, really. And I went to Egypt and I realized there was more to life. So I made myself do things that I would have been more afraid to do, like perhaps talk to people. I started talking in front of groups. I started doing things that I used to stop myself from doing. And, you know, something that helped me also was thousands of people do this every day. If they can do it, so can I. That really helped me in my early days. You know, when I first went off to go overseas to Egypt, was my first trip overseas, my mother was like, oh, you know, the plane will fall out of the sky and all this. My mother had a lot of fears. And of course, when the parents have fears or people around you, you learn from them, you learn their fears. And I was a bit nervous. And one night I'm sort of thinking, my mum was really, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? Millions of people travel all the time. If they can do it, so can I. And I started feeling more confident. I started to challenge myself. I went ahead and did it. You know, don't let the fear stop you. Feel the fear. Know the fear is there, but move forward with it. Go on and do it anyway. Don't worry don't let that thought of someone's going to laugh at me. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Oh, I'll be a fool. To hell with that. So what? You think other people haven't made fools of themselves? We've all done it. So what? Learn from it, move forward. Love yourself. Look in the mirror. Love yourself. Face that challenge first, because when you're shy, it's hard even to do that for yourself. Start that and look at people. All right, you want to overcome. You don't have to go and talk to them. Just look at people, just give them a smile and just walk on and just see their reaction. You'll be surprised. Most people will smile back at you. And not only that, you make them feel good. Just do little things to begin with. And slowly but surely, you will find you will overcome. Honest to God, you speak to anyone from when I was young. I remember meeting a girl I worked with when I was around 17, 18, met her and we were chatting and she says to me, I can't believe you're the same person. And she was still in touch with some of the people I worked with. She goes, I'm going to go tell Janine. I'm going to tell Jackie. They're not going to believe this. My God, you know, I was telling her, I've gone to India, I've done this, I've done that, overseas, Wow, what happened to that shy, quiet Fran? What happened to that sad, quiet Fran? Wow, she was just blown away. And that really made me stop and think, wow, yeah, I've changed, I've moved forward, and I enjoy life a lot more. Don't let that sadness, that shyness, that fear of what other people might say and do stop you from living, stop you from enjoying life. There's so much out there. There's so much out there, and it's beautiful. Life is beautiful. I love the color of life. I love life. And at the same time, I can't wait till I move on to a higher awareness, a higher consciousness, you know. Sometimes I just look at flowers, the beautiful colors, the trees. And, you know, now I'm so lucky to be in Denmark because all your blossoms are coming out. It's so beautiful, the flowers. And I just think every day how lucky I am, and gratitude. I thank God every day of my life. Even when I've had the really bad day, I sit down and I say, God, I know you love me and I thank you and I know you're taking care of me, but I've just had a bad day. I talk to God all the time. I talk to them all the time. And I always say, thank you for taking care of me. Thank you. I know you're so good to me. Honest to God, I do that every single day. I'm so blessed. I feel so lucky. I've had a tough life. We've all had a tough life. There's no one that's got away with it, okay? It's the way we want to take it. Do we want to carry that forever or do we want to overcome it? If you want to overcome it, then let it go. Let it go. Get out there and smile at the world. Anything else? No? Okay, so yeah, I think we've gone over our hour. That's good. But yeah, look, love and blessings to you all. Really believe in you. Find your soul. Find that strength. We've all got it. We've all got it. If I can do it, if I can pick myself up from my past, my life, and really come and talk in front of groups of people. I mean, I couldn't speak in front of one person at times, leave alone groups of people. But now I'm out there talking. It's amazing. And people want to hear what I got to say, which is even more amazing to me. But it's great. So I'm just doing it. And I love it. I love to see people lift themselves up. That's what I want for people. I want people to find their courage, to find that they are beautiful and life is beautiful. Don't judge yourself on what society tells us we should be like or look like or whatever. I'm beautiful. I don't care if anyone else thinks I'm ugly. I'm happy with me. There used to be a time I'd look in the mirror and think, oh my God, I should do this. You know, I'm ugly. I don't look like that person. Who cares? And I have to say also, as you get older, you do let go of all that stupidity, you know, that madness that we have to be like someone else. You know, I've been told many, many times, oh, you know, you're different, you know, you're different. Yeah, great. You know, what my niece has said to me, you know, Auntie Fran, they call me Fran. Auntie Fran, you're not normal. And I look at her and she goes, and you know, that's really good. And I said, well, thank you for the compliment, darling. No, I'm not normal and I don't want to be normal. I just want to be me. We are not the same. We cannot be the same. We're all individuals, divine individuals who have a greater purpose in life. We all have this greater purpose. How do we find it? We find it by finding ourselves first, finding the love that we have within us, and we start liking and loving ourselves, and we move forward. Yeah, that's my message to you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you have also. Thank you.
Thank you.